everybody, and welcome back to Skåne Startups video series. As you know by now, Skåne Startups is southern Sweden's grassroots startup community organization, meaning it's by entrepreneurs and it's for entrepreneurs. And this is episode number 6. We've come such a long way, and today's episode is actually a really great one. I have interviewed Heidi Lindvall from Fast Track Malmö and Sami Niemi, Malmö-based super investor, about the topic of how to split equity. And if you are a startup, this is super important for you, so keep on watching to learn more about this topic. Winter is truly coming. It is now 7:30 and I'm on my way to Helsingborg to meet with a few influential people to discuss how we can get more women into and staying within tech. It's gonna be super exciting. It is so cold, but the sun is shining, which is really nice. Well, I'm about to go into that building over there to interview someone who you've already seen in this video series. Please give a warm welcome to Heidi Lindvall.
I'm Heidi Lindvall and I head the Accelerator Fast Track Malmö. Equity is essentially the shares that you have in the company, so it's the ownership of your company. There is no right way. However, I would always start by thinking what's fair. There are really good calculators online where you can try to find an amount. There's a few different reasons that you'd be splitting equity. First of all, if you are multiple founders, if you raise a certain type of investment, you might have an option pool and you might be giving employees equity. So I think equity is just a great way to incentivize people to feel like they belong to something and they're doing this for the right reasons. If you take in an equity round, so you can also take a convertible loan note or something else, but let's say you take in an equity round, then all your shares in the company will be diluted, which means all the ownership percentage that you have will be a little bit less. So let's say at 5%, but now you essentially add additional shares, which means your 5% might now be 4.5% or something like that. And that's essentially what dilution is, and that will happen for every round you take in. There are multiple mistakes that you can make. One of them is that when you take in investors, you're not aware of how much you should give away and how much is normal. Again, there are some standards for this, but definitely talk to people who've raised money previously and try to make sure that you're kind of benchmarking yourself in a good area. That you don't want to give out too much equity, because that means that you might have a hard time taking on investors in the future if they see that you don't have that many shares left, essentially. But you also don't want to give away too little, because then you're not really incentivizing people who are on board to feel like they're part of the company. So again, there's no specific amounts that are correct, but I would say in general for an angel pre-seed round, I would aim to give away about 5 to 10% in total. Then when it comes to your seed round, you'll be looking at more like 15 to 20, and then from then on, when you go to your Series A, you'll be like 20 to 25% per round. How much you give away also very much depends on what kind of company you're trying to build. If you're going to go the VC route, and you're going to build high growth startups and you're going to be taking in multiple rounds of investment, then that's when you have to be really careful and figure out how much equity can you afford to give away in order to still be able to raise your next round. So this is when you need to make sure that you kind of fit into the mold. Do some research and make sure that you're well educated on your space, and make sure that you don't give up too much equity too early, because that can really hurt you in the future.
Where are we? Hi. We are at Student Startup Matchmaking.
With us, Drivhuset and Meg. Hi everybody, it is Sunday now. I woke up at 6 in the morning this morning to take the train to Stockholm, and right now I am on the cruise to Slush. So excited, and this is where I will interview the last person for this episode, Sami Niemi.
My name is Sami Niemi. I'm a former entrepreneur and now a partner at Spintop Ventures. There's a very simple thesis that investment fund needs to return at least 3x the money. And if you look at the statistics of companies that you invest in, a lot of the companies are going to not go so well, although we try our best. And some are going really, really well. But that means that you need to seek returns that are at the ballpark of 10x in the companies. You need to figure out, okay, from this day on, I will invest this much money. There's going to be 2 or 3 more rounds of this size, meaning that it's going to cost this much dilution going forward. And there's these types of buyers. These are the prices that are paid for the company. So you actually go from sort of valuation perspective and then arrive what sort of equity it translates to. But you need to do the math from the how do you make 10x if the company succeeds really, really well. A company like Spintop Ventures, we reserve like 2/3 of the money for the future. So going into a company, we maybe invest only 1/3 of the bag of money that we've thought that we will put into the company. So the future, it takes a long time to build the companies, and then it goes up and down. If it goes perfectly, you want to be putting more money along the B and C and the new rounds. If it goes bad, it might mean that it's a more dilutive round, or you just to go with the previous valuation or things like that. I think the equity is such an important asset for growing the company. If you have too much equity that is owned by previous owners, especially if they're not active anymore, that's not really a great thing. So you have like 30% passive ownership of the company. There's really just 30% less energy in a company. So you want to make sure, the key thing is that you have the owners that are active, be it individuals or venture capital companies or angels. But the money that is in the company should be quite active, in my opinion. The most common pitfalls is obviously that the business doesn't perform. Maybe you use the current valuation, or you actually have to do a down round. Those are the things usually that.
Does that mean you take in more money without actually growing?
That's right, yeah. Maybe the most important advice is really to be very, very, very early connected to your customers. You have some sort of thesis who your customer is, and you really need to understand who they are, how they're thinking, really put yourself into their lives and do it continuously, because that's the only way you can build the minimum viable product to them and sort of go on iterating it. Then you of course have to know who you are, what are your strengths, what are you contributing, who do you need besides yourself to succeed with the company. And that's super important, so you can gather the people, the board, the advisors around you that can help you to grow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this episode. It has been a great one to make. I've learned so much, and I hope you have too. If you liked it, please give us a big thumbs up and share this with anyone you think would find this information useful. And the information about anyone involved in this episode will be, as per usual, in the description box below on YouTube or up above on Facebook. And if you want to learn more about us, go on skånestartups.com. There you can subscribe to our newsletter, find out about events in the community or startup jobs that are available, and much, much more. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in 3 weeks. Bye-bye.